Today, we have 3 cases from Judge Boyd's courtroom, and I'm going to be honest with you by the end of this video, you're going to feel something, because these aren't just legal proceedings. These are real people, real families, and real consequences. Make sure you stick around till the end, because the last case, a judge literally gives a man a choice. Prison or probation. Right now, pick one. But first, this one.
So to everyone in the courtroom, it's the court's understanding that a verdict has been reached on punishment.
Okay, so before we get to this verdict, let me give you the full picture because this case is heavy. A man named Eric Moody was killed. 36 years old, software engineer, played guitar, had a girlfriend, a dog, a whole life. He was just walking near his apartment when Robert Castillo's car hit him. And Castillo, he drove away. Didn't stop, didn't call for help, just left. And he didn't turn himself in until 2 days later.
It states we assess his punishment at confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice for a term of 12 years. And there is no fine.
12 years. Now, before you react, let me show you what happened before this verdict came in. Because the prosecutor said something in her closing argument that I literally haven't been able to stop thinking about.
In that tale of 2 mothers, one only gets to see her son in a cemetery. Mr. Castillo's mom will have every opportunity to call him on the phone, visit him. She still gets her son on holidays, birthdays, celebrations. Miss Gonzalez doesn't have that. Mr. Moody doesn't have that.
I mean, how do you respond to that? And you know what's wild? Eric's mom, Miss Gazelles, she sat on that stand and she said she can forgive him. She's not asking for revenge. She just wants accountability. And then Castillo's mom gets up and says he helps care for his disabled brother. He has 3 kids. He's a good person. It was an accident. And here's the thing, both of these women are right. That's what makes this so hard to watch. Let me know in the comments, was 12 years fair? Because I genuinely don't know the answer.
And the court will sentence you to 12 years in the prison and counts 1 and counts 2.
12 years for manslaughter. No probation. And the victim's family didn't even end up giving a victim impact statement. They changed their minds at the last minute. I'll let you sit with that. But now this next one. A 19-year-old kid who has never held his daughter, not once. And by the end of this hearing, he finds out exactly when he'll see her next.
How old is Lincoln right now?
Lincoln is 19.
And he turned 19 while in Bexar County?
Yes, sir.
So Lincoln Merchants. 19 years old, never been to prison before, and his mom is on Zoom from wherever she is trying to explain to this judge how her son ended up here. And what she says next, honestly, it recontextualized everything for me.
He was 15, and that was the beginning of my son's drug addiction. And then he also tried to, I'm sorry?
Would you be surprised that maybe it was even earlier than 15? Could have been possibly 14?
It could have been.
Okay. But he
That's just when I found out.
Okay. And so Lincoln's father introduced him to acid as a teenager?
Yes.
Okay. Did Lincoln's father remain in his life?
Not consistently. We split. We're divorced. He didn't go consistently, or he wasn't in there consistently. He was kind of in and out, kind of around, kind of not. He was clearly on substances when he was coming back around. Lincoln was probably about 15, 16 at that point.
Did Lincoln, I guess, get put in any type of bad situations because of his father?
Yes, there was one time, I know he asked his son to help him do some things he shouldn't have been doing. And then there was another time that he came with one of his girlfriends to the house to pick up my son. Lincoln was in the back seat, and he picked up a meth pipe and started smoking it in front of him.
Was there ever a time that I guess Lincoln lived with his father?
No.
Was there ever a time, I guess, that he was introduced to one of Lincoln's father's girlfriends?
Yes.
What was that situation? I think you explained a little bit to me before.
That would be a which one? There was a time where he took the kids and moved them in with a drug addicted prostitute, but they were small when that happened. Lincoln was maybe I want to say 4 or 5. It was shortly after, or maybe he was 6, somewhere around that age, 4 to 6.
And so he took Lincoln from you? How did that happen?
That was just a big old mess. He thought he was God and he just let us do whatever. I had to steal my kids back.
His own father introduced him to drugs at 15 and then came back around when Lincoln was older and smoked meth in front of him in the car. Now, I'm not saying that excuses what Lincoln did, but when you hear what he actually did on that day, you start to understand how someone ends up there.
I was working on my car. My friend said, want to go out.
Who's your friend?
It was Adrian and
Okay.
yeah. And I told him, I said, no, I don't want to go out. I just want to finish working on my car. And I stayed under my car and pulled up in front of the house. I went out. And I was already on drugs for 2 days prior to that. Working on my car, I was up for 2 days straight.
What kind of drugs were you on, man?
I was on cocaine. And nothing.
All right. All right, keep going, man.
We went out. I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to make money to fix my car.
3 days, no sleep, cocaine, and he broke into 13 cars that morning with his friends, found a gun in one of those cars, and when a victim confronted him, he pulled it out. That's aggravated robbery. That's a serious charge. And then his girlfriend gets on Zoom. She's 19 too, and she says this.
She's 6 months old.
Has he ever gotten a chance to meet her in person?
He's never met her. He's only seen her pictures and on video chat.
He has never held his daughter. She was born while he was in jail. She's 6 months old. And I don't know about you, but that hit different. And then Lincoln himself gets on the stand. Remember, this kid only has a 7th grade education, and Judge Boyd asks him directly,
You broke into 13 cars, so you ended up with 13 people's lives. What would you say to them?
I wasn't really. They were all even out.
What about, they were talking, I was talking about your juvie stuff. Did you get pop for UUV and burglary vehicles from the juvie?
Not very easy.
Lawful use? Okay. So this ain't your first rodeo, this is part.
you can tell this kid is not some hardened criminal. He's broken. He knows what he did, and then Judge Boyd does something I wasn't expecting. She doesn't just read the sentence. She talks to him.
All right. So in each cause number, the court is going to deny your applications. The court is going to find you guilty. There's an affirmative finding of deadly weapon. The court will give you credit for any time served. Each case will run concurrently, and it also will run concurrently with 2025 CC 009793 and 2025 CC 009791. Take in consideration 2025 CR 0113110A. There's to be no contact with Adrian Hernandez or Oscar Carvajal Jr. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. The court will request the therapeutic community. Therapeutic community does not increase the time that you are in custody. It's really designed to help rehabilitate you. And I'll put in the judgment the therapeutic community is for mental health as well as drug addiction. Now, I do not have jurisdiction to force them to place you in that program, but they're going to see in the judgment that I think it's appropriate for you to be in the program, and you will have to request it as well. If you don't request it, they definitely will not consider you. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. And each cause number, the court will sentence you to 8 years in the prison.
8 years. His daughter will be 8 years old when he gets out if he gets out early. And Judge Boyd goes off the record and says something that I think is worth hearing.
But just know this is not the end of your life, right? You can still do great things. You can still be in your child's life, but you're going to have to make some changes and make sure that you stay on the path to, I'm getting my GED. At the prison, guess what? You can get your GED. You can get a college degree. You can get a trade. And people that I've represented before as a defense attorney, I always tell them the best trade that they can get, because you always need people. Welding. You always need a welder. And your attorney will tell you welding pays great money.
And that right there is why people watch Judge Boyd. She doesn't just give sentences. She talks to these people like human beings. Okay, last case. And this one is wild because the defense attorney basically argues against his own client. And then Judge Boyd gives this man the most direct choice I've ever seen in a courtroom. Stay with me.
He's worthy of it. He is a habitual offender and continues to make choices that place him into this position that allow him to be criminalizing himself by using drugs and abusing drugs, and as well as the community he's admitted to selling in the past. So because of that, I would ask that you deny his applications and sentence him to 7 years.
So Charles Atwell, drug offenses going back years, federal prison, probation violation, and he's applying for probation again. Now normally the defense attorney comes in fighting hard for their client, but watch what this defense attorney says.
I don't know that he'd be that great on probation, quite frankly, based on all of that, that's in that report. If the court were to grant him that, certainly Mr. Atwell has mental health issues, and mental health initiative is recommended for him. I think that he's sufficiently motivated for it, because this gentleman he cannot tolerate being in custody without constant phone calls, constant communication. I know that he doesn't want to be in jail, and that is probably the biggest motivator for him. I don't know that the motivation would be to clean up and all that. I think the motivation would be jail. But if he is able to stay clean, motivated by not coming to jail and complies, that's what he needs to do. Stay away from drugs and don't pick up any more offenses. I think he's properly motivated, but I don't know that the report and all that kind of shows us that. The court would be incredibly merciful to give him probation, but based on that report, I think it would be wisest for me to request that the court consider.
Did his own lawyer just say, I don't know if he'd be great on probation? Like, bro, that's your client. But honestly, at least he's being real. And then Judge Boyd, she's done hearing arguments. She just looks at this man and says exactly what's on her mind.
You have choices, and here are your choices. 1, I can grant your application, but you're going into inpatient treatment, so you will not be released or until you complete your inpatient treatment. And it's probably going to end up being safe P. We can do a referral to felony drug court, but they want dual diagnosis outpatient treatment, but you need inpatient treatment. So we can do that, or either I will sentence you to 7 years. What do you want?
What do you want? Just like that. Probation or prison? Pick one right now in front of everyone. And after everything, all the arguments, all the back and forth, you know what he said?
CP.
Okay.
Probation. He picked probation. And Judge Boyd, she doesn't even hesitate. She grants it. But then she says something at the very end that I think tells you everything about what kind of judge she is.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Remember this day, because you wanted probation. You said you were going to do it. So when it starts getting hard, which it will, just remember this day. Okay?
I will, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good luck to you.
3 cases, 3 very different outcomes. A mother who will only see her son at a cemetery, a 19-year-old who has never held his daughter, and a man who just got his last chance. Judge Boyd's courtroom doesn't let you leave feeling neutral. That's why people watch. If you want to see more cases like this, subscribe, because I upload these every week. And let me know in the comments which case hit you the hardest. I already know my answer.